Okay. So what was the last thing we did? We finished his views on state and all. We finished state and morality. So next is we have to talk about advice given to Prince. And there are many advice he gives, prominent or 20. Even if you remember some 10 also is fine because you can't write all 20. The major thing, see basically the advice in itself is not so important. More important is the uh, the motivation behind why is he giving that advice. That is more important. So when I say motivation, because it speaks, when you look at the motivation of why is he giving that advice, it speaks of uh, uh, it speaks line of thought in him, like it tells you uh, what school or what kind of a specific mean is he proposing in a specific to establish the state. Basically, the advice given to Prince is two things. One is it talks about how to establish a state generally, and once the state is established, how do you preserve that state is what it is talking about. First thing is if you look at, he says to use force ruthlessly. When you talk about force ruthlessly, he is specifically talking about two particular things. One is as monarchy as a stopgap arrangement, and because why it's a stopgap arrangement? Precisely because he wants it to be transitioned into, or it is a transition to your civic republic or republic. And second thing is he also wants to use force because he has a poor opinion about human beings. He believes that unless you actually control human beings, it is difficult to bring regulation, it is difficult to bring peace. Basically, he talks about using force for the end. That end is public welfare. The second is persuasion. Persuasion artfully. This is your basis for diplomacy, and this is why when you look at his most of his advices which he gives, those advices are pragmatic and realistic, and uh, because of the kinds of advices he gives somewhere lays the foundation for the school of realism. So this particular thing, diplomacy and also uh, this one combination of force and this is actually one of the precepts of realism. Realist school, when you study IR, you'll be studying realist approach. So one of the prominent thinkers who helps found that school is Machiavelli. There is Hobbes also. There are many other people, but one prominent person is this. Okay, to be regressive, to this is not, this is just a general advice with respect to maintaining a strong army. We have already discussed how he talks about conscription and he talks about it is expansion and theory of aggrandizement. Now, this is where art of war, this is where he becomes the founder of realism, because realists believe in the idea of security dilemma. They say that international relations is, or international scenario or international situation is a situation of war. Nations should always be prepared to defend themselves. That is, they should be prepared for war. This is one which has influenced. To be popular among the people. Now, this is where it shows that he is a reader of public psychology. Most of his responses, the response of the king, is to create an image among the minds of the people. Based on this reading, he becomes the founder of this particular school. Okay. Now, to be better feared than loved is again related to this one. Is that clear? And this one we have already discussed, to abstain from property and women's subjects. So here, the two observations on this. One is this is in line with or his uh, deduction. What he says is that property, or what he says is human beings or men love property. And when he says that you should not uh, touch women subjects, basically is patriarch, nothing very feminist about his thoughts. So he considers women as a sort of property of men. Okay. Now, utmost secrecy, and he also speaks about uh, spying, espionage, and spying is one means wherein he prescribes it to understand the public mood, and also it will help in knowing how is the public reacting, and also formulating or governing. Next is public spirit. Civic republicanism is the idea here. Thereafter, play fox and lion. This is important because he is the first person to speak about two characteristic features of a king. One is he has to be cunning, he has also to be courageous, two qualities. Fox is cunning and lion is courageous. Now, these two ideas, if you translate or if you paraphrase into institutions, or uh, in terms, if you convert it into, if you institutionalize it, they become civil society and political society. Political society is nothing but your army, land, police, not land, army, police, etc. and all. Civic society is nothing but civil society is nothing but your fox. It is hegemony, which Gramsci talks about. And fox and lion is a term used again by elitists also. Elitist school, they explicitly use this term. So Machiavelli is considered as a person who influences elitist school also. So his fox and lion characteristics, which he talks about a ruler, is talked about by elitist thinkers also. There are elitist thinkers called Wilfred Pareto, Mosca, and Robert Michaels. So they speak about this kind of a quality. Who exactly speaks, etc., that we'll discuss separately. Okay. Now, to be a good showman, this is again public psychology, to create an image among the people. To be an opportunist. Now, opportunist is basically here situational. Ethics, means and ends are separated. Okay. And here he talks about certain governance aspects, to choose one's own counselors, that is your own administration, and second is to be watchful of economic affairs, because he believes that a king who is not strong enough in terms of his treasure will never be respected. So now when you look at most things, here one more thing is there. Just saw a contradiction to expansions we've already done. See, here he talks about to possess virtue, then he says to be an opportunist. Okay. Then he talks about to create public spirit, and then he talks about how to destroy liberty. Where is it? Okay, this one. These two are contradictory, or seemingly they are contradictory. When you talk about advices, with every advice which I've given an observation of what is his line of thought, who is he influencing. So when I am explaining that what is his line of thought, who is influencing, etc., that itself shows that his advices are important in terms of laying foundation. That is, I have made the evaluation already, one part of evaluation. The criticism part is, look at his advice. Most of the advices are inconsistent with one another. Like somewhere he says follow virtue, somewhere he says be an opportunist, etc. Now, why is it so? It is so because whenever he is advising the prince, these are not universal things. Some are universal, but many are situational. So when something is situational, when you say when your advice is given on the basis of a situation, naturally many seem contradictory. Yes, that is one thing. Second thing is, when he's making advices, most of the times you see that there is a sort of divorce between means and ends, which he is talking about. Mostly many things are immoral, very less morality he speaks about. This is why these are the criticisms against him. And when you look at the advice is not something which is reasoned out. It's not like, so he observes certain things, he makes a general advice. So he observes human beings. Then he comes to this conclusion. After coming to a conclusion, then he gives an advice. Now, this is slightly problematic because the very deduction which you have made itself is erratic. It is not. So, when you say human beings are wealth loving, partially correct and partially incorrect also. So when you are not accounting for fuller aspects of human nature, your advices will also not be neutral, or they will not be impartial. So basically what we can say is, your advices were rooted in a specific situation. They are not universal, they are situational more. Okay.